Hi and welcome back to the channel. It's Monday the 26th of June. I'm really excited. We've booked in to go racing at Brands Hatch on the Saturday and Sunday of this end of this week, so everything's got to be finished by Friday. This is the engine, this is the gearbox, this is a new head I've got for it, a manifold. We'll talk about that in a minute. Basically, my car is HSCC spec, but CTC CRC have very kindly said that we can go along and make the numbers up with our HSCC cars. There's myself, Vince Frost, and another chap called Will, and we're going to race our HSCC cars with these guys. A little bit of a difference in the spec. We've got some fiberglass doors that are aesthetically correct, but just made out of fiberglass. And obviously, in their class, they have to be steel doors, boot and bonnet, and also we are running 6-inch wide wheels where they're only on 5.5-inch wide wheels. Same tyre, but it's just the rules. So we're really pleased that they've allowed us to come and race with them. That's great news. Really excited. Just need to get the job done and probably stop making YouTube videos, but it'll be a good log. So hopefully every day we'll see more progress towards getting the car where it needs to be. What I'll do is I'll turn the camera off now, flip it round, and then we'll do a walkthrough and talk about what we've got to achieve between now and then. Right, this is where Hillman lives. He's just arrived straight back from Three Sisters where we tested the 1150. I've not had a chance to get near him. I put some boxes on top of him just to make him feel comfortable. That's his mate up there that lives on top of the ramp. So that's the end of the workshop. So we've got to pull the engine out of this and the gearbox because it's got the 5-speed in, and we've got to get the other stuff ready. There's various other jobs need doing to make it work, but it has run recently, so I know the battery works. Oh, I've got to fit the fire extinguisher as well. I've got a new fire extinguisher. So we come through here, we'll come to Will's engine. Now, Will Egby, I don't know if you might have seen him on the YouTube channel, but he's a young gun and he's keen, and he did really well at Brands last time. He won his race outright in the wet. Fantastic bit of driving. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing him out and being out racing with him. Now, he's had a bit of an issue with his engine. It ran a bit hot a few times and it suffered a bit in the head. So we're going to sort that out for him. But there was no time between now and Brands. So he basically bought the spare engine off me. So this is not what I call an old school 95 horsepower, old school 998. Hopefully he won't beat me in it, which would be most embarrassing. But it's got an R22 cam, so it's not full race, but it'll have a nice spread of torque. He'll probably do quite well in it if he can drive it, especially if it rains. He'll be fine. So I've just put this on the dyno. I've been stood for a while and popped some carbs on it, but he's going to come on Wednesday. I'm going to take these carbs and manifold off and all the oil system and put all of his stuff on that's specific to his car. So when he goes back down to wherever he's from, down south, he can just plonk it straight in and go to Brands and race. So we'll video that getting dynoed on Wednesday. Now through here, I've got my my engine, which this was the 1040 that was in the video called 10 laps till failure. So it's a top out dry liner 1040. It's quite a good bottom end. I've just took it apart for two reasons. One, I wanted to change the head on it because I've got a new head that I want to try. And the other reason is, you may have heard on the grapevine that James's engine exploded at Castle Combe, which was most unfortunate. And looking at the size of the hole in the side of the block and the fact that there's no heat in the journal, I'd say he suffered the classic rod explosion, which is no fault of his own, nothing he could have avoided doing. But these rods, the original rods, are great, as I've talked about in the videos before. But they do have I'll try and zoom in on it. They have a little spot face here, and if you look, this corner here is a really sharp corner, so it's a stress raiser. And what happens is the cap bursts, it cracks across there. I'll try and tag a photograph. I've got a picture of another one, so I've seen this before, hence why we've got the steel rods made. So I thought, right, not messing about, we'll put a set of rods in it, and then we know we can rely on the engine and not have to worry about the small, very, very small chance for a rod failing. Anyway, so that's that bottom end, and then this is the head that was on it with the downdraft ports that I made. Now if you look, because of the way the tubes fit underneath the I can't really see, trying to find an example for you, can't really see, but you might just see the back of the valve there. I did this downdraft imp head years and years ago, but because I had to slip the ports, the new port underneath the cam carrier, I couldn't quite get it to land where I wanted it to make it seal properly. So it never did what I wanted to do, and the long and short of it, it never did any proper power. So that's why that's been retired off, and I have a new project here which I'm going to share with you in a minute. This is my 4-speed gearbox, which makes it legal for the championship because it's got the 5-speed at the moment. But it had the Tranex plate type diff, and the preload on this is far too tight. So it was great in the dry. You could agitate it into a slide fantastically, but if it rains, it just understeers the car. I need to take it apart and change the preload on the shims, and then that'll reduce the drag on the clutches and effectively make it turn in better. So that's another job. So I've just put what we call a jackknife cam and pawl in this. It sounds absolutely horrendous, but they work quite well, especially in an imp. So moving on, we've got the head here. Now this is just an old school head, big valve. I've given it a flash on the top. On the bottom, it's on recheck on the wheel strings. You need to do some work on the chamber. You'll want a set of guides and the seats cutting. What I'm going to do, that you'll see in the next video when we get on it, is this is a new manifold, and I'm trying to straight line the airflow through the manifold into the head. Now, on a normal imp, the manifold, the angle is slightly steeper there, and I thought I brought a manifold through. So, oh yeah, here it is. So here's the standard manifold. So can you see that the angle's quite acute? So when you look through it, if you come at it flat to it, you can't actually see through the port. And what we're going to do is we're going to machine the side of the head. So this head, if you look, you can see straight through it. So it's a nice straight line. And I've got a little drawing so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. Because I'm going to machine this face back at an angle, to straight line it, the first thing I've got to do is I've got to use this 5/16 UNC die nut or die. I'm going to thread this aluminium bar, and I'm going to plug all the holes. So all the threaded holes, I'm going to plug them with the threaded bar and Loctite, so that when this is remachined, we can re-drill and tap them all to take the manifold. Now what I'm on about is, I'll show you, I've done a very professional drawing here for you chaps and ladies to enjoy or understand. So this is your imp engine. This is the standard setup. So the carbs side draft, obviously, the air is coming in, being forced by atmospheric pressure, and then it comes in, it does a little S-bend, and it goes into the engine. Now, this is a new head and a new manifold, so this angle's been changed. And this dotted line is where I'm going to machine it. This is the original head face that runs straight to the block. I'm going to taper it off, or not taper it, I'm going to angle it off like that, so that when we put the new manifold on, the air doesn't have to go around the corner. It just comes straight in. We've took that corner out and it goes straight to the valve. Now, I don't understand fully, but excuse me, hay fever. The Will, my exhaust man, tells me that air doesn't like going around corners. So based on this information and the fact he's made this fantastic manifold for me to try, which was the one we did try on, oh yeah, getting back to this manifold. This is the manifold we did try, if you remember, on the 14:1 compression engine. But what happened was, I'd machined the head back at an angle, but not enough. We got our angles wrong. And it meant that when the engine was installed, the carbs were slightly downhill, so that the fuel was dripping out at the end of them, and that was never going to work. So that's why we're having another pop at it now and try and get it right this time. And hopefully we'll see some power increase, which would be fantastic. And you might be thinking, crikey, you're going to a lot of trouble here for, for how much? For maybe a couple of 3 horsepower if we're lucky, or a bit of torque here, a bit of, a bit of something better somewhere. But realistically, the reason we do all this work and try all these different things is, when you're running second and you can't make any distance on the guy in front of you, and you've got 5 laps left in the race or whatever, it's these little bits that make the difference. So with all these little bits coming together, the new cam, the new exhaust system, the better angle on the head, the different chamber shape, the newer pistons, the better lighter rods, all these little bits add up to give you a better chance of being where you need to be on the grid. So that's why we do it. It might look like craziness, but that's what we do. Anyway, I'll be checking in tomorrow with a progress report on where we're up to, and I hope you enjoyed the video.